Welcome to 2026. Seth Sprague, CMB here at Richie May. And folks that know me, I run the mortgage consulting group here. We wanted to do a quick video kind of at the beginning of the year, and actually we're calling it our 2026 bingo card. But there's a lot of things in flight in the mortgage ecosystem these days, and we wanted to highlight a few on this video to make sure they're on your bingo cards for 2026. I think the most obvious one is Chairman Powell's term expires in May. There will be an announcement of who his successor will be. I think it'll be very important to watch how the markets react to his successor and its impact on particularly the long end of the curve. If the Fed is viewed as less independent, that can have a material impact on bond investors and obviously the impact on mortgage-backed securities. One of the early themes in 2026 is there's been a number of articles written that the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac mortgage-backed security market is operating without a safety net. What does that mean? Well, at the end of the day, the Fed has been a buyer of mortgage-backed securities, sort of keeping rates kind of capped. Ultimately, if we need other investors to come into the mortgage-backed security market, at what price point are they willing to come in? And does that have a dampening effect on the ability to get lower interest rates if the bond investors are demanding a higher yield for the mortgage-backed securities? Something just to pay particular attention to. Potential capital relief at the bank level, at the large bank level, is something that should be on everyone's bingo card. What does that impact on the bank's ability or willingness to be either in mortgage or in servicing if more favorable, or I should say less harsh capital rules come out? That should be something that everyone, banks and non-banks, should be aware of. I think the midterm elections is something that's just going to be constant noise until we have the election, and hopefully that does not lead to sort of social unrest with the outcome. But both the Senate and the House in 2025 discussed housing affordability. Senate actually has an outstanding bill with numerous areas where they're trying to address affordability, and the House Financial Services Committee passed some proposed legislation as well. Affordability is a hot topic for legislatures. Now, the issue is there actually anything that can be done at that level to increase affordability? That is something that still needs to be determined. The good news is it is a bipartisan issue in Washington, D.C., where both sides understand that there's an affordability issue. I think the real struggle is how do you actually address that going forward? I think one of the other things to pay particular attention to is the success of the mergers that occurred in 2025. There were some material transactions in 2025 that are changing the mortgage ecosystem. Everyone's going to pay particular attention to how well those get integrated across their client base, across their strategies, and is there a change of strategy as a result of those mergers and acquisitions that occurred? And one final thing to note, and I think this may be the most important topic, is the regional differences that we're seeing in the market. If you're a national originator, you understand that certain segments of the market or certain states, even certainly zip codes, are doing better or worse than others. I think one of the real areas that people should focus in on 2026 is communicating internally to their staff, and if they have outside investors, to their outside investors, that headline numbers and actual results may be materially different. You may see a national HPI number that housing appreciates 3 to 5% in 2026. However, there may be pockets, there may be states where it actually depreciates. And I think really understanding those markets and those differences and being able to communicate that out to your teams is very critical. If you need assistance or want to talk further about our 2026 bingo card, please reach out to me at Richie May, your favorite representative, and we look forward to chatting with you in the future. Thanks.